are our opportunity that we have in the city of New York to be turned as a above the ground train system. A lot of work has been done, but I know that under the leadership of Governor Kathy Hochul, Mayor Eric Adams, Chair Llano, and we at DOT, we will continue taking our buses where we have never been before, making riders or giving riders the opportunity to have the best experience when they get into the bus. We are proud to have worked closely with the MTA advocates and community residents to significantly improve bus speed, but there's much more work to do. And that's why Mayor Eric Adams and I have a bold plan to create 150 miles of new and better bus lanes and busways across the city, speeding up buses and significantly reducing wait time for New Yorkers. But we only will do it together with Chair Llano and the rest of the team at the MTA.
Thank you.
We are also actively working with the NYPD to ensure that both lanes remain unobstructed and clear. For this reason, we are working hard with Mayor Adams and many advocates calling on Albany to pass a home rule for our streets, which would include making the automatic bus lane camera enforcement program permanent, transferring home rules to New York City for our streets that will allow to rapidly respond to public safety crisis on our roadway, reducing reckless driving and keep private automobiles out of the bus lane, resulting in bus moving faster through open and clear bus lane, improve bus service reliability, and reduce wait time. We look forward to continue working with Chair Llano and the rest of the team. What we have seen is in this particular area, there's more than 250 riders using this bus lane every day. And this has been very important for the residents of Queens. Para nosotros hoy estamos en un día muy importante, junto con el presidente de la MTA, con un liderazgo, con una gobernadora Kathy Hochul, con un alcalde Eric Adams, comprometido a nosotros seguir expandiendo lo que son las líneas de los autobuses para que esta experiencia sirva a que los neoyorquinos regresen de nuevo a usarla como lo estaban haciendo anteriormente. Gracias.
Alrighty, Donis was supposed to introduce me, but okay, but it's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you the great leader, the Queen World President, Donovan.
Thank you for that commercial. But what a muy bueno. But what a great day to be in Queens, involve President Donovan Richards, and for the thousands of Queens residents who get up each morning and head out to a bus stop around here. Today is a great day. Many of those residents are coming or going right here, downtown Jamaica. If you're from Southeast Queens like I am, you know it can sometimes take you an hour just to get to one of the train stations here in Jamaica. I often joke, and it's not really a joke, that it's as easy, David knows this quote by now, he's gonna tweet it. It's easier to get to Florida by plane than to Manhattan by train from here on some days. And if you're going to Brooklyn or somewhere else in Queens, you're taking the bus to Jamaica just to get on another bus to get to work or school. This is what getting around is like if you're in a train desert, like Southeast Queens, Eastern Queens, or Southwest Queens. The bus system is our lifeline, but far too often, the buses are unreliable here, overcrowded, and slow. The routes are outdated and schedules haven't changed with our neighborhoods, as you can see behind me. That's why the MTA set out in 2009 to redesign the borough's entire bus network to provide more frequent and reliable bus service that better satisfies the needs of Queens. The first plan wasn't exactly popular with many of us, but I give the MTA a ton of credit in coming back. They not only went back to the drawing board, they're coming back to us with a better product. This new plan incorporates in response to the feedback the MTA received after it put out its first draft and really expanded on a lot of the good ideas that came from our communities. And while this is a lot to like about this new draft plan, while there is a lot to like about this draft plan, its release is by no means the final step in the process. In fact, the most important part of the process is upon us, as these same communities can now weigh in on version 2 of this plan. Look, Queens families rely heavily on bus service that can often lack in efficiency and reliability, especially in many transit deserts. So it could not be more important than we get this redesign of our bus network right this time. And I know that if our communities are fully engaged and involved in this process, we will get this redesign process right. That's why I encourage all Queens residents, especially those who live in transit deserts, to familiarize themselves with the MTA's draft plan and to make their views on it known. I also look forward to working with the MTA to ensure our families are not only sitting at the table with us throughout this process, I want them sitting at the head of the table. That's because working people have no choice but to take the bus, and they should under no circumstances be forced to accept slow and unreliable service. So I want to thank once again the MTA for doing this. I did have an opportunity to work with Jano and many of his staffers on this plan. I want to thank the staff of DOT and the MTA. I think what they came back with was really a better product. We look forward to obviously the community input as we move ahead. I will end in saying that your socioeconomic status, the color of your skin, who you worship, who you love, should not be a determinant on whether you have transit equity. Thank you.
Questions? Let's go on topic first, please. On topic first. And Rivoli over there.
Thank you. Now, question, can you characterize, that you don't have to go too into specifics, can you characterize what was wrong with the 2019 draft? How would you characterize this draft and what it aims to achieve and how it achieves it? And then, you heard a lot of people say there's a lot to love, you know the phrase, love lost with the bus in Queens. How does this draft meet the moment of all the criticisms you heard about the bus today?
Listen, Dan, it's a draft, so everything we say that's good about it is subject to the real dialogue that needs to, begin right now. As my partners at New York City DOT and Borough President Richards have said, this is the beginning of the process, not the end. But the draft that is being released today does some important things. It focuses on, one, connecting people more quickly to the subways and to the commuter railroads. It also tries to balance the goal of moving buses more quickly with which sometimes involves reducing the number of stops, with maintaining effective local bus service, especially to communities which have a lot of seniors in it and a lot of people who do need close bus stops. And it's also rethinking the issue that we work so closely with New York City DOT and Commissioner Rodriguez on, which is how to make full use of the bus lanes. We have a mayor who's now committed to dramatically increase the number of bus lanes. The MTA has been pushing for it for a long time, but more bus lanes is one of the major ways that we're going to get faster bus service. This plan will try to leverage that commitment to additional bus lanes to get much faster service for Queens.
All right, Dave Colon right here.
One of these questions is for P.P. Richards, and I guess the other one's probably for Jano. But President, 2 years ago you were down the block criticizing the draft plan that came out. I'm curious if you're here today, in the future, as a salesman then for it. And then for Jano, is this plan going to increase bus service? Is it going to be a revenue neutral kind of thing? And on the topic of eliminating bus stops, obviously that's going to wind up being very controversial. They're a little close by international standards in Queens. So I'm curious what you're shooting for here. In the Bronx, buses wound up average about 1,000 feet. Bus stops between each other. Are you shooting for that here? Are you shooting for something more?
So let me start in just saying as you alluded to, definitely last year I had some significant concerns about the initial plan. I think that when you look at what the MTA has come back with, and at least what I have seen thus far, I think you can tell that they definitely listened to communities. So yeah, I'm here as a salesperson to say, let's get this done. Of course, there's a lot more community input, and it's not, listen, there's no such thing as a perfect plan, but we should not let perfect be the enemy of good as well. So I do think that they made some significant changes that got me on board with this plan, and I certainly look forward to listening to the community. And if there are other improvements that need to be made through this version 2, we'll continue to work with the MTA to update their plans. And I'll also add, I have concerns about, of course, what you just mentioned as well, cutting stops in lieu of saying you're speeding up the buses. And I understand that there are some bus stops that are very close, block or two apart. There will be some impacts there, but it's something I think worth doing in terms of speeding up many of the buses as well. And of course, we always want more money for more bus service as well. Thank you.
Listen, I'm going to ask Craig to come up and talk about the specifics of how we're managing what I think is a Goldilocks approach to trying to balance, the number of stops and bus speed issues. But the big picture here has to be focused on. Buses are about equity. For so many people who are not living right on top of subway lines, buses are mass transit. We have to make it possible for them to move around the city quickly and efficiently. Buses have to be faster